Hey guys, PIEGUYRULZ here, and welcome back to Topic of Discussion. Today's topic, Saturday morning cartoons. More specifically, the one block that I watched as a kid. Now, back when I was a youngin', I used to pretty much just flip between Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. A few years later, Disney Channel. That was it. That was like all I watched as a kid. I wasn't very cultured when it came to TV. Just cartoons and whatever live action shows Nickelodeon and Disney Channel wanted to throw at me. That was what I watched. But someday at school, some kid, I don't even remember, must have told me about Kids WB. And the whole concept of the Saturday morning cartoon was a foreign one to me. But I was like, alright, I'll check it out. I saw it one Saturday morning. And I saw it every Saturday morning after that, because it is an awesome block. Kids WB is the bomb. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, it had just an awesome mix of action shows, like really cool action shows. For instance, two of the biggest blockbusters were just little-known shows. I don't really know if they have much of a fan base today, but like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! They're these two weird shows. Yeah, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon, like, it started there on like its, I don't know, a Paris episode. Like, they weren't very far into the show, the original series, when it got moved to Kids WB. And Yu-Gi-Oh! I think even premiered on Kids WB. I'm not certain. But yeah, like, for the most of the block's run and the most of the original runs of the shows were aired on Kids WB. Like, for years, they were the big hits. And I loved them as a kid. They were two things that turned me on to anime in the first place. And card games, too. But, yeah, when you have shows like that like begin your lineup, or not literally begin the lineup, but when you have shows like that, you know it's going to be a good lineup, a very popular lineup at least. And yeah, they were the 4Kids dubs of the shows, but as a kid, I didn't know that, and I didn't care. They were awesome. Look, I didn't care that a jelly donut used to be an onigiri. I was just watching awesome Pokemon battles and awesome trading card battles. But either way, those two shows definitely did a lot for the network. But other shows that they had, let's see, there's superhero shows, mostly from DC, like The Batman, which was the incarnation of Batman that I saw, The Batman. Specifically, The Batman, not just a Batman, this is The Batman. Although the network did air Batman the Animated Series, but I never saw it when it was on there. And I love The Batman. I'm sure the animated series is great. I've never actually seen all of it. But The Batman was the one that I followed religiously as a kid. And it was great. They also aired some Teen Titans episodes. Because, yeah, they cross over with Cartoon Network because they're both owned by Time Warner. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, they got Teen Titans. Let's see, Static Shock. They had, they had all sorts of shows. They had Crypto the Superdog, which was kind of meh. But alright, it's different. And there was a lot of different types of cartoons on here. Different things than you'd think. Shows like Monster Allergy and was it Skunk Fu and The Mummy, the animated series. Seriously, who asked for The Mummy, the animated series? Yeah, it's based off of the movies. And the main character's name is Alex, which always bugged me because that was the name that I went by as a kid. I don't know why that bugged me. But yeah, and I didn't watch a lot of those shows. But there were different kinds of shows. There was also Ozzy and Drix, which is a show I did watch based off of the movie Osmosis Jones. It was all animated, and it was cool. Gosh, what else did they have? Well, let's see. They had Johnny Test, which is a show that you all know and detest, although I still attest to the fact that the show was good when it originally aired on Kids WB. They made new episodes for Cartoon Network, but I mean, I think the show was decent. I didn't, like, love it or anything, but I thought it was pretty good. They had, like, a parody of Pokemon in there. They had some interesting things. It wasn't just a Dexter's Lab knockoff, although it was a little bit of that. But it was a decent show. They had, oh, man, two of my favorite cartoons of all time. Xiaolin Showdown and Jackie Chan Adventures. They're both shows about these groups of people who fight over these mystical objects. They had magic, they had action, adventure, they had laughs. Oh man, I have Xiaolin Showdown Season 1 on DVD, and actually you can watch like all of Jackie Chan Adventures, or half of Jackie Chan Adventures. Used to be on YouTube streaming services, not sure if they're still there, but I think Hulu Plus has them. You could still find these two shows specifically, because they're really good. like really solid shows. There were petitions to bring back more of Xiaolin Showdown, and Jackie Chan Adventures went on for like 5 seasons. It went on for a long time. Good run too. Let's see, they also had oddities such as Mucha Lucha, which is something I also watched a lot, which was a cartoon devoted entirely to lucha libre, or Mexican wrestling, masked wrestling, if you want to go there. Yeah, these kids wore, like, everyone in this society wore masks, even the toilets for some reason. It was definitely a weird show, but it was cool. I liked it. Definitely a different idea. Another different idea that was kind of meh was Loonatics Unleashed. It was alright in my opinion. I watched it. It was decent. It was Looney Tunes characters, but in the future, and with superpowers. And they weren't exactly Looney Tunes characters. They were based off of them. A little bit weird, but it was alright. It was critically bashed, but as a kid, I thought it was pretty decent. Let's see. Oh, they had bombs like Coconut Fred's Fruit Salad Island. I remember loathing this show. It was a very loud... It's like The Annoying Orange, but in coconut form. Seriously. Actually, thinking back, it is pretty much that. The show is really loud, really obnoxious, and just, I don't know, it seems to be capitalized. It tries to capitalize on, like, SpongeBob or something. Like I don't know what it's trying to capitalize on, but it's trying to capitalize on something. And it was absolutely awful. But there were only a few shows that were like that. And before my time, they aired stuff like... Animaniacs and other WB shows, Warner Brothers shows, and it crossed over with Cartoon Network, as I was saying. Stuff like Teen Titans showed up here, which I think I mentioned, but stuff like the Powerpuff Girls got a few episodes run. I remember there was a Chalk episode of the Powerpuff Girls that specifically I remember being aired on Kids WB. I don't know why I remember it, but I remember it. And yeah, and that crossover has led to the fact that, like, after they had their new episodes on WB, they would have reruns on Cartoon Network. And then, like I said, Johnny Test is still running today, and that is a remnant of Kids WB. So, really, what happened to Kids WB? It faded away, unfortunately. Yeah, when WB got merged with UPN and became the CW, things just weren't the same. It lasted for a year, still being called Kids WB, but eventually it gave way and became the CW for Kids, which is a stupid name. And then after that, it became Vortex, which is run by Saban and happened recently. Saban of the people who own Power Rangers. And they seem to know what they're doing. They're airing things like Justice League Unlimited and stuff. And still air like Yu-Gi-Oh! So it seems that they kind of know what they're doing, at least. So that's good. But even better news is the fact that Kids WB still has a website. Yeah, it's still called Kids WB, it's still a website, and it has episodes of awesome shows like Xiaolin Showdown, The Batman, Ozzy and Drix, Tom and Jerry Tales is a cartoon that aired, and it was awful. I absolutely hated it. You just can't recreate the Tom and Jerry magic. It seems off when you try to redo it today. Like, the animation's too good, the slapstick's not funny enough, it never works. But yeah, that existed, and you can see it in all its awfulness on the website. There's also weird things like the Smurfs. Also, Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue, which is a really weird spin-off of Scooby-Doo, where Shaggy and Scooby-Doo aren't solving mysteries, but they're super spies and live in Shaggy's rich uncle's mansion. It was alright as a kid. I thought it was pretty good, but it has very little to do with Scooby-Doo, to be honest. But yeah, you can go on the website and see some of their shows. And for some reason, some shows like the Looney Tunes show, which are Cartoon Networks, it's a little bit of a dumping ground for Cartoon Network, but it also has some good shows that you can still see a few episodes from. And that's cool. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you watched Kids WB. Let me know if you watched another one of the networks, and you know, what that was like, what Foxbox was like, what the 4Kids network was like. Let me know your experience, even if you grew up in the 80s or now. Let me know if you have any experience with Saturday morning cartoons. And yeah, feel free to discuss it, because I want this whole thing to be a big discussion. So discuss it in the comments. Maybe I'll join in. Until then, PIEGUYRULZ, out.